Hi, everyone. Welcome to DomainSherpa. Today is the first episode of Down the Rabbit Hole, a new show we're launching with Drew, myself, and Yoni Belousov, who up to this point has been one of the most low profile yet successful domain investors in the world. So to have him as part of this new show is a big deal and something we're super excited about. Down the Rabbit Hole is really cool because it'll give us a chance to expand our conversations beyond domains into many of the other areas that domains take us. But don't worry, there'll still be plenty of talk about domains too. And for today's show, we get into Bitclout, Y.AT emojis, XRP, some new NFT platforms such as Lazy and Autograph, along with 45.com, France.com, and some domain conference stories from back in the day. All of this is coming up right now on Down the Rabbit Hole here on DomainSherpa, where all roads lead to domains. So let's go.
It don't matter what you say, there ain't no way that you messing with my team today. It don't matter what you do, I will not lose.
What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, aka JT, aka J On, and I am the host and producer of DomainSherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is actually a new show that we're launching on DomainSherpa called Down the Rabbit Hole. So as we say here on DomainSherpa, all roads lead to domains. And in the reverse of that, our work in domains often has us venturing into all sorts of different areas and topics and things. Some are more familiar to us, crypto, NFTs, digital assets related to domains, and plenty of others that aren't so familiar, hence the jump down the rabbit hole. So, and if nothing else, this shows an opportunity for us just to bullshit about anything that we want to. So there'll be plenty of domain talk, but plenty of other stuff as well. And we're going to air this at least every other week with myself, my boy Drew, and who you all know, and like by popular demand, and somebody that I am so excited to finally have on the show, our boy Yoni Belousov, aka Young Money. You know what I'm saying? So for those of you who don't know, right, Yoni's legit been in the domain business for over 2 decades, since he was legit a teenager, and has maintained a super low profile. But if you know, he is one of the most successful domain investors ever, like in the world. Ever. And to get him to join us on this show as a recurring character or whatever is I couldn't be more hyped about it. So he's also one of my closest friends in the space. Well, and is my homie in real life as well. And you can find his online presence is at original.com. But to have him and Drew on the same stage on a regular basis is an enormous win for the domain space and just for the audience and all that good shit. So with no further ado, I want to say welcome, Yoni, to DomainSherpa, bro. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. And of course, we got my man, Drew, aka the Dirk Diggler of digital assets, the market maker, the hidden hand, #1 domain broker in the world. I don't know, man. What do you think? Did I miss anything?
Where did Dirk Diggler come from?
I don't know, man. I just like saying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that's fun to say. I'm like Will Ferrell and Elf. It's like that. That's
you're the odd man out now. You know, Yoni's also my neighbor here in Lisbon now.
I know. Yeah, and that's
I can imagine we could do this live.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so I just got the vaccine. So, in fact, yesterday I told both of you guys I was pretty banged up. I got shot number 2. And, so for about 24 hours, first shot, for those of you who are about to get it, thinking of getting it, whatever, first shot wasn't bad. I got the Moderna, and I'm here in Florida where it's pretty accessible. And so that wasn't bad. But the second shot was like jammed me up for a full day. I mean, migraine, headache, everything was achy. I was laying in bed like most of the day. But now I'm good. I'm bulletproof, tiger blood, all that shit. I'm coming to Portugal. Let them know. We're going to do this shit live.
It's counterintuitive, but I think that like the stronger the reaction to the injection is an indication of like the stronger your immune system. Like I think the whole point is that you actually want your immune system to have an inspired response to the vaccine, and so I think it's actually a good indication if you have a strong response to the vaccine.
Yeah, man. Well, hopefully that means that I'm good and it worked and all that stuff. I feel a ton better today. But yeah, it was a rough 24 hours, man. I hollered at you. You were like, dude, you don't look so good, man. You should go back to bed before you fuck something up. Nah, man, I'm good. I got this. But so that's what's up, man. So Yeah, so I'll have to see about what the rules are going to be about travel and people being allowed in and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's obviously things are still pretty crazy, but yeah. So
I'll tell you what, I'm getting a little bit extremist on this topic. I'm like, really, it's starting to very irritate me that like I'm not vaccinated yet, but people who are vaccinated, the fact that like forget about that everybody should have freedom of travel, freedom of movement. But like if you're vaccinated and like you can't, like Americans who are fully vaccinated, like my parents, fully vaccinated, 2 shots of Moderna in the arm, they cannot come and visit me in Portugal. And it's not because of health reasons, they're fucking vaccinated. Like it's just some political bullshit, right? It's Europeans won't let in the Americans because the Americans won't let in the Europeans, and it's just a bunch of political BS. And it's like I'm pretty much at my limit for that stuff now. I don't know. I feel like something's got to break there. That's not okay.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm always like, for me, it's less about politics and it's more about common sense and what does the science say. And like you said, if you've got people,
Well, that's what it should be about. But point me in the direction of where that's happening. Like, please sign me up. Like, oh, you got a place where things are all about common sense, pragmatic. Like this is the way things should be. Like, please, can you send me an invite?
No doubt. So, well, Yoni, so you just posted up in Portugal now officially, and so how you liking it so far?
I mean, so far I like it a lot more. So, I mean, just for some background, I moved here from Canada, and in Canada, I mean, there is even less, I don't even know what to call it, just freedom of movement, self-sovereignty, whatever you want to call it. There's less of that. So, I mean, for example, I had to fly into Canada originally, and I had to quarantine for 2 weeks, even though I had to show a negative test just to fly in, and so did everybody else. So what's the chance anybody of the negatives catches it from each other and then brings it to the country? But just in case, you have to effectively self-jail for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And also effectively it's solitary confinement. I mean, I don't even know who came up with this rule, but anyways, then when I came to Portugal, there's none of that. They're just like, we just want to know where you're going to be. Yeah, okay, fine.
So when you quarantined in Canada, where were you actually? Like, were you at like some facility, like a hotel? Like, were you able to at least go home?
No, so I was quarantining at home, but it was quarantine with potential punishment of up to $3 million in fines.
What?
And up to 1 year jail.
What?
So and this is without me committing, like, even let's say I left the apartment and I got caught outside. This is without me committing any crimes. This is without any jury or judge, and everybody is just following through.
That's cool.
But you know what? I suspect that what we're going to see on the backside of this thing, probably starting now, is people are going to start pushing this thing into the courts, because it's like you can't do that. You can't tell me, I dare you. Like, I'm not going to say this on video what would go down, but if you try and put me in jail because I left my house, I can assure you that one of us isn't going to go to bed that night. Like,
all right, well,
it ain't going to happen.
Well, so for example, right now, they actually, even since I left, they made the rules even tougher. So right now, to fly into Canada, first of all, you're only allowed if you're a permanent resident, so that's the equivalent of a green card in the US, or if you have a Canadian citizenship. Then you have to do a test, show a negative COVID test prior to boarding your flight. Then do another COVID test on arrival. Then when you arrive, you have to quarantine at a hotel designated by the government for 3 nights. You have to pay $2,000 for that. After that, if the COVID test comes back negative, then you have to quarantine another 14 days at home. Why? Nobody knows.
What?
Like, it's all arbitrary.
Wait, that's what you had to do?
No, he's
No,
saying
I didn't need to do that. So those rules went into effect after I already left. But the craziest part is that, first of all, I mean, Trudeau tweets about it, saying that this is, he's just proud about that. These are the strictest rules in the world, as if strict equals great rather than more tyrannical. And then the other thing is that, So effectively, when they tell you you have to go to a hotel and you have to pay $2,000 to self-jail there, you can actually refuse, and they can't force you to go there. If you refuse, they're going to give you a fine. The fine is $800. The hotel is $2,000. So it doesn't make any sense. And then even when you fight the fine, they actually won't take you to court because, again, they can't. It's actually unconstitutional. So they actually
It's
can't
unconstitutional. You'll lose. I mean,
yeah. So then the problem is that then what is even the point of this exercise? Effectively, this is some sort of test of submissiveness to the government because nobody else is going to follow.
Yeah, well, it's wild, man. We'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, I mean, it gets to the point where it's like, again, it's just counterintuitive, doesn't make any sense. And it's just, just jamming people up, man. And it's like, well, and even the CDC recently came out and said, hey, we got to chill on some of this, like, theater, right? The virus theater around, like, we know how it transmits, right? It's aerosol and it's, respiratory in transmission. So all of this extra like spraying and doing all this other kind of stuff is kind of like it's extra and it's unnecessary. So let's just focus on what actually we know is accurate with how, COVID is transmitted and that kind of stuff. And I think I appreciate that approach, right? I mean, it's like, let's focus on the shit that actually matters. So, but anyway, let's segue over to something else. Cause this was, and Yoni, I don't want to get too much into your history and turn this into a full on interview for you, but like, I do think the idea that you've been involved in domains literally since you were in your teens, right?
Yeah. So, I never had a job. This was it.
So how did that work though? Like what was the, I know I've heard it, but I think it'd be kind of cool, like, just to break down, the 30 second, maybe not 30 second summary of like what got you into domains though? Like, what were you doing? Were you in school? Like you bought some domains, you sold some names, realized shit, there's some real opportunity here. And then just got on your hustle. Like what's up?
I guess it also happened so long ago that I don't even remember the details. But, effectively, when my family moved to Canada, so this was like the year 2000, this is when my parents got interned for the first time. So I had all this free time and I was just, exploring online. And back then, I mean, you couldn't really, there was no way to make money online. Nobody was buying anything online. So there were a lot of MLMs and kind of other schemes, but besides that, there was a growing marketplace for web design, a little bit of programming. I mean, we're talking about things like HTML.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was playing around with lots of things there. And then, just trying, once I heard that some people make money online, I was like, oh, I'm spending all this time online, might as well try it out. And then, different things stuck, but domains was the most successful one. So effectively, I kept doubling down and reinvesting, everything I would make from, like, let's say I would do a little bit of web design on the side, take that money, put it in domains, sell those domains, maybe make, double my money, triple my money, repeat the whole process all over again. Yeah. And then, it was just like, really, it's a compounding effect, and that's all there is to it.
Well, that's awesome. And and then you and like some of the crew that was, part of that younger group back then. I mean, you guys were at domain conferences before you were even 21 and stuff, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, I was coming in, like even my first time in the US was actually a domain conference in Vegas. I think I was 18 or something like that. And I mean, it was very interesting, when I had like a Hummer limo pick me up at the airport. And this was my first time in the US. I was like, hey, I could get used to this.
And then what was the time? Didn't you end up like, was it a broken nose or something? You ended up on a plane, like having to jump on the plane. Like, was it
No, that was a different time. I had many stories like that. That was actually in Vancouver. And then
that was the first time I met you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So then I had actually a scar that was like from my ear to my lip. And that was from sword fighting the night before. And I mean, I could barely get on the plane, not to mention into the conference. It was a mess, that one. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Well,
so just for some added color, I mean, like Yoni's way of thinking about domains and domain value and scarcity around domains and the way that you should think about, turning over your inventory or not. has been an enormous influence on me and the way that I think about it. And definitely Yoni is one of the people I turn to most when I'm, thinking about a high level name that, deciding whether to buy it, whether to sell it, whether it's the right price. So it's very exciting to finally, get him on here and be able to pick his brain, which, going forward, we'll do more of. So what are you doing lately? Tell us what you're up to lately. What's going on?
I mean,
Games, monetizing.
Ever since, like maybe the last couple of months, I was just busy with all the various logistics of moving to another country. So that includes effectively getting rid of, liquidating all the assets I have in Canada, rebuying everything here. And actually that took most of my time. So actually, in a way, I was maybe less active in domains than normally.
Mm-hmm.
But, on the domain side, I guess, we're still acquiring all the time, still doing sales. And, the sales that I do are not really that time intensive. So in other words, I mainly spend my time on building the system that will allow for the sales to flow as kind of like in a frictionless manner as possible. And so in a way, if I'm busy with other things, it's still moving in approximately the same pace with or without me.
Well,
so
and I think that's
time, I'm just more of a passive investor if I were to categorize myself.
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting point about you, Yoni. I mean, and, having worked with you and gotten a, feel for how you do things and, you're big on automation, establishing the systems, spending time and money up front to, create the, like you said, the frictionless process and systems to allow effectively sales to do themselves, right? Like buying, selling, like you get the bots to do it. And then you're just chilling.
The way I look at it is the same as you own, let's say, 100 Google stocks or like 10,000 Google stock. I mean, what's the extra labor there? It should be none, under a frictionless system.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, the closer you can bring it to a frictionless system, the less time you have to spend on a per domain basis.
I'm with it, man. And I think
makes sense.
Yeah. And those are the kinds of things.
I wish that you could come over and help me do that.
Well, I might do that. Yeah. After I've seen your place, I was like, holy crap, this is like a hardcore operation.
That's definitely what's up. So yeah, well, now that you guys are physically so close to one another, we can make that happen. And, but yeah, absolutely. And I think, and I, again, that's always been the impressive thing watching the way you do things is how much you're able to get done in a way like, systematically allowing, the processes to just do the work and how I don't want to say aggressive, but like how focused you are on that, you know what I mean? And, and I think that that's one of those things that if you can focus the right way to where that the end result is ultimately going to be what you want, it's going to work, it's worth the time, it's worth the effort, and it's like and I've seen you do that, like and it's pretty impressive. So so that's what's up. So and you're also a pretty big crypto guy as well. I mean, Drew is like on his Twitter, he's like he loves Bitcoin like a fat kid loves cake, right? And you're probably would you say the same or what?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm a big believer in Bitcoin and just the general, I guess, digital asset ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So, like in other words, like everything that we do in terms of investing is really effectively relies on placing value in the form of assets away from cash, right? Because otherwise if you own cash, the value of that cash slowly evaporates over time. Mm-hmm. So that means effectively you want to keep it in assets. The cool part about digital assets is that they're as frictionless of an asset as you can get. So in other words, let's say anything physical, you're talking about, let's say it's a classic car. Okay, I mean, you have to store it, which is already car is a decent sized, item.
Yeah.
Then you have to maintain it. Then there are, like all these other things that you have to really worry about. Like, you're talking about insurance, like
it's a lot of variables.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables. And a lot of variables means a lot of things can go wrong. So let's say if you have something like a domain name or Bitcoin or any other digital thing, the moment it's digital and doesn't participate in the physical world, especially if you have a good system to manage it, almost nothing can go wrong. So in other words, you probably decrease the number of things that can go wrong by 10x. And, effectively, this is where the world is heading anyways. So you might as well be there before everybody else to be able to further, I guess, cash in on this trend.
I just listened to an incredible interview the other day with the guy Meta Kovan, who bought the Beeple for $69 million. And the guy is really, really inspiring. I mean, I would highly encourage anybody to go listen to any of the interviews that he's given. But this one in particular was with that guy, the Iranian guy, Ben David, the Investor Entertainment Network or something, some name like that. I can't remember what his. But anyways, he was saying something very similar. He said, he's Indian, comes from a small village in the middle of nowhere in India, grew up in complete total poverty. Even when he was in his 20s, he barely spoke English, and he learned English listening to audiobooks. And, he was an engineer by trade, but he didn't have access to getting a job in any, even though his skills were in high demand in the world, because he didn't speak English, because he was in the backwoods of India, he didn't have access to that market. And when he discovered Bitcoin, he immediately realized, oh my God, this is they don't care what color my skin is. They don't care, what my skill set is. It's everybody's welcome. Everybody's, it's almost like, Bitcoin in a sense is the metaverse, or crypto is the metaverse. It's a new sovereign nation that doesn't have borders. It doesn't have these artificial, boundaries and walls.
Global market too.
It's a true global market.
It's available for everybody from different angles. It's available 24/7. I mean, think about even U.S. stock markets. I mean, they trade really 1/3 of the time that Bitcoin does.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, you can also claim that
and
those
why?
have a lot less volatility.
Because some lazy,
they don't trade on Christmas
guy in Wall Street wants to go home, or do whatever he's going to go do after, after, what time's the market close? 3 p.m. It's like, it's 2021, bro.
And no, 100%. Well, I think that's the reach, the exposure to people to be able to participate. I saw a tweet, especially with NFTs kind of blowing up. Not kind of blown up, but NFTs blown up. And somebody tweeted where they're like, I wish I could tell my younger self, hey, you can get rich doing shit that you're just into, so you don't have to spend your 20s and 30s working for some monolithic corporation for people that you hate, jobs that it's kind of like that whole thing where it's but if you just stay focused on the stuff that you just really dig and that kind of thing, you can actually get paid. And that's kind of what I think is super cool about NFTs and crypto and all that stuff, is that it does create this opportunity for people to gain real wealth. But the paradigm is completely shifted, right? And it's about this hey, I'm going to go in and punch a clock, and instead it's doing things that for people that they're actually really inspired by, and things that move them and that they're truly interested in. And it's not just the in the guts of it, but also just the big picture, and just things that it's just a really amazing shift for people, and all across the world, right? So it's you really do democratize the whole thing this way, and which is just pretty amazing. So I'm
buying a farm right now, and it's I tell you, I got 4 emails from my lawyer, and I got about 70 something pages in documents I got to read through, and then I got to read through them again after the lawyer redlines them, then I'm gonna read through them again after another lawyer redlines them, and it's I'm gonna go through this process just to buy a little piece of land. And it's going to take me months, and it's going to cost thousands, probably 10 grand in legal fees. another few grand and, you know, notaries and then probably tens of thousands of dollars in transfer taxes and all kinds of crazy bullshit. And then I'll actually own a piece of land, and then I'll go through that entire process again to build something on it. And it'll take 3 years. And it's like, you know, I'm going through this. It's like, man, I really want this piece of land. But that, you know, it's like every time I get one of these emails, I'm like one step closer to being like, you know what? Just forget about it. Just keep the fucking land. Like, I'm going to just, you know, I'm going to go buy some digital land. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, but
Times are
you're doing
changing
it
and they're changing fast.
for the main purpose of you doing that. It's really the utility of that land rather than the investment.
Purely. It's not an investment.
Right?
If I was doing it for the investment, I would have walked away. I would have
exactly.
walked away. I mean, which is in essence the decision that you and I have made at this point of our lives is like basically we have walked away from investing into things that aren't digital because, you know, it's like I got no problem buying my house. I use it. I love my house. I, you know, may probably buy that farm because, you know, I get utility out of it. I had no interest, like literally. And if you asked me even 18 months ago, and you know, Yoni, I threw a million different things at you, like, oh man, we should buy this. I have zero interest. I have zero interest to like go out and buy real estate. I have zero interest to go out and buy basically anything. I still have some gold. And even the gold, I'm like,
we talked about it last time.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I just
like I think the old way of thinking is that the fact that you can touch it, the fact that you can visit it or whatever else, that's a feature. But now as people get used to digital assets, they realize it's actually a bug in the system. You don't want, like, the moment that you have to touch it means that you have to maintain it. The moment that you can visit it means that, you know, you can have some squatters come in. It means somebody can dump like some toxic waste in there. Like you just open yourself to like a myriad of kind of like contingencies that can work out not in your favor.
Yes.
Get money. Let's get money.
Media Options is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, Media Options offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. Media Options believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you. So, you know, talking about digital assets and things, you know, so let's segue a little bit. We've got, you know, on the NFT side, right? Recently, Mark Cuban launched lazy.com for displaying your NFTs. Did you guys, anyone create?
Yeah, I think that was just a lazy brand decision. You know, he's owned that domain name lazy.com for like, you know, I think since 2013 or 14 when I looked, and it was like, oh, come on, Mark, you know, that was just lazy. Yeah. Lazy.
Well, and right, as the owners of wall.com, I would say that is clearly probably the best domain name to use for that purpose. You know, so whether it's him,
digital art should be on a digital wall.
Period. Yeah.
Wall.com.
What about this other one, Autograph, which is the Tom Brady thing? So, and I think what's the domain they're using for it? Autograph.io. Are you guys familiar?
.io.
So
.io.
And
you know, I just think, how can an A player get out on the field with B grade equipment? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, Tom. Come on, Tom. You're the best in the world at what you do. You're gonna go out on the field with training wheels? Come on. So, get the training wheels off. Get the .com.
Yeah. All right. So not supportive of autograph.io as a domain name for the, but pretty cool that they were willing to go with the IO. You know, I mean, I think IO domains have proven, you know, to have a pretty good foothold on the tech side, and, you know, especially with some of this crypto stuff that's going on and everything. And we've obviously, I mean, with our metaverse.io sale, you know, setting those records and establishing kind of like, you know, sort of the alpha there. Still pretty interesting, you know. But
yeah, no, it's super interesting. I mean, I think Bill Belichick would slap him upside the head and say, "Stay in your lane," you know. But you know, when in Rome.
So, and then another thing we were kind of talking about before we jumped on the call today. So, Bitclout. What do you guys know about Bitclout? Anybody? Did you accept your name on Bitclout yet? Is that like? Is it all based on?
Look, to me, I mean, for me, I look at that and it's like pure Ponzi scheme. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't.
So you
So for me, I actually like it.
Why?
Because I like the new monetization strategy. Because right now, let's say you're somebody who has some following. Let's say it's on Instagram, on Twitter, or whatever else. The real issue, I mean, on Twitter, not so much because they don't have like pure monetization. Let's call it something like YouTube. You know, effectively, what this means is that there is some sort of level of censorship there. Because if the advertisers see some sort of material they don't like, you're getting that feedback through Google that you need to lay kind of like off this topic, or don't say these set of words together. So as a result, it's actually you're almost like controlled by the puppet master of advertising. So whoever the companies are that are advertisers of YouTube. Now, with this Bitclout situation, it's maybe one of the first solutions I've ever seen of being able to monetize it in a completely different way. It also perhaps helps with things like, or it could help, if it becomes successful, with things like spam, because there's going to be a cost associated with commenting, a cost associated with direct messaging, and so on. Like, I mean, I like the whole concept. Whether or not it will succeed, obviously it's just a crapshoot. I mean, but I guess let's say in that situation, okay, by the way, this, some disclaimer, I put some money into it. And the real, I guess, the only thing that matters is whether the chance of it succeeding is.
Wait, you put some money into the company?
No, into the Bitclout coin, I guess.
The token or something.
Yeah.
And then you use the coins to buy interest in like particular people, right? Like influencers.
Yes.
Or,
and
like,
so that allows you,
like,
you can't follow somebody without investing into them, or what?
It depends on how that person with the profile decides to use his profile. So effectively, you almost have like this interface where you decide that, like, for example, like usually those people, let's say on something like Instagram, they say, oh, DM me for this or whatever. When that happens, they're just spam to the max. There's, 10,000 DMs. And it's really, like you're counting on Instagram's algorithm to be able to put the things to the top that matter. But really, they don't do a good job. And what ends up happening, the people that go to the top are really the people who are also verified. And that's it. So really, they don't even interact with their audience unless their audience is small. So in this situation, you can do it in a different way. You can, let's say, the number of coins, or let's say tokens that represent an influencer you have, maybe that's how the influencer can sort their DMs. Maybe there's gonna be a transactional cost to send you a DM. All of this is actually already built into the product. But by the way, I can't hear you. I don't know.
Yeah, no. It's all good. I think. Can you hear me now?
Well, I couldn't hear it, Drew.
Oh.
All right, I just switched my AirPods.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, and I see the thing too with this Bitclout coin is that it goes like for every million coins that are purchased or something, the price then doubles. Is that what it is? To also try to build in this like idea of like.
Yeah, there's a supply curve there that is programmed in. And the way it also works is that, let's say, I don't know to what extent it's customizable, but the token, like the influencers of who they have their tokens, they effectively can, first of all, obviously they can invest in their own token, but effectively they get a transactional fee of every token of theirs that's being sold. So in a way, it has like kind of like this NFT angle from that perspective.
Yep.
But so there's lots of interesting concepts in there. What's interesting is that even one of them can work and maybe change the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, that's what I think is crazy, right? Because, you know, you get a Kim Kardashian and Elon Musk, you get anyone to actually kind of sort of like, you know, buy in, and then it can create, you know, I don't know what the numbers look like for them, but my guess would be you get a couple of people that start to participate, and then you get all sorts of people that just start jumping in. And like you said, the creators, it seems like, have an opportunity where if, you know, you could make it that, hey, if you own 2 of my coins, let's say I'm, you know, then, you know, there are certain either, you know, benefits to being almost like a Patreon or whatever, like a
Yeah,
member of
yeah,
the
yes,
club. So
exactly.
it's
So
like,
it merges all these different things, all these different concepts together.
yeah. And
And
it's
in
kind of
a
like,
way, it also allows the content creators to kind of optimize their revenue flow better, because obviously they want to provide more features to the people who are willing to pay more.
yeah.
So how much you own of a coin is both an indicator of how much you're willing to pay. At the same time, it's also an indicator, I guess, of how much of a fan you are of that person.
So how, if you're a creator, how do you monetize this? You know, do you have your own coins as well? Like, and then,
Yeah, exactly.
so as your
So
coins go up, you can, like, you know, and I guess the idea being is the more popular you are, the more in demand, the more that your coins cost. The more your coins cost, obviously, those who got in earlier. That's one of the things I think from an NFT standpoint where there's a real opportunity. I use this example a lot. Like, you know, I remember back in the day, it was like, you know, it was like a cool thing to try to discover artists before they became super popular, right? So, you know, the idea that if you own an album that's NFT'd, or let's say it's creator coins or whatever the mechanism is, where you buy low early and then you have an opportunity to sell high later once that artist becomes more and more popular, I think is a really cool way to do fan engagement for artists and things like that,
yes,
right?
yes,
You know, there's no doubt. So then you're kind of like, hey, well, I got, you know, I've been following so and so since back in the day, and now they're this
yeah,
movie star with platinum albums. So now, like, the coins that I bought or the NFTs that I bought are worth like 30x, 100x, 1000x what I paid. It's like, not only did that artist get successful and rich through their journey, but as like one of the early adopter fans, now I did as well, which I think it's like creates a really crazy kind of like thing and momentum. And oh, Drew, we can't hear you, man. Drew, I can't hear you, bro, but I'm sure what you're saying is real. You just said some profound shit, son. But yeah, so I dig that, and I dig, and then yeah, it's like, and just kind of what I'm seeing here too. It's like, yeah, so if you own 3 coins, and, you know, Cardi B, she says, hey, anybody who owns 3 coins or more, you get all my releases early. You get a special signed copy of my
yeah,
album. You get,
What about now?
you could, yeah, now we can hear you. Now
yeah.
you can
Now we hear
message
you.
me, all that shit. Or like Justin Bieber, who's Drew's favorite artist. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that creates a real opportunity for him. You know what I'm saying? To get down with Biebs. You know what I'm saying? Like, message him.
Yeah, okay. So, but tell me something. Where does the actual money come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, great. So, you know, I'm an early follower of Jay On, and I'm like, all right, you
Yeah.
know, Jay On, he's gonna be something someday. So I buy some Jay On coin, and like you become something, right? So the value of the coins that I own supposedly goes up. But where does that money come from? Where does the value intensity come from?
Right. Well, I guess it's people purchasing the Bitclout for this particular instance, right? It's people purchasing Bitclout coins, right?
Yeah.
So every creator has like a finite fixed amount of coin.
Effectively, yeah, and that is measured in Bitclout, which is then measured in US dollars. So it's kind of like, it's, in a way, it's almost like different layers on top of each other. Actually, even the whole Bitclout thing, I mean, you know, they're layering it on Twitter because this is a way for you to claim it. You know, effectively how you can claim your username if you are somebody who's like 15,000th most popular Twitter usernames. Effectively, you have to, they're going to give you this special public key to paste on your Twitter, and that's how you know, that's how they allow you to claim it. So actually, it's a very interesting system. It's kind of like the same way that, let's say, something like the iMessage system uses the legacy text message system and kind of layers on top of it. So that's what's interesting. Like, effectively, you don't have to even walk away from the current system. You can kind of just layer an extra system on top
Parallel. Have a
of it.
parallel.
Yeah, which supplements it a little bit. Drew, by the way, we're getting, I think, a little bit of that feedback from this. Is this the mic you jumped on initially when I was telling you we're getting that, like,
Yeah.
but And by the way, I'll say this because I say it every time we're on a show. I've sent Drew all the info of the mic and the board to get, and he just refuses to do it. You know, at least Yoni found a piece of
What
art
about now?
in his stuff to put on the wall. That's better. Man.
What about now? Okay, all right. Get
Good.
rid of the Yeti.
The Yeti is not the jam. So, yeah.
No,
So,
Yeti don't.
So I guess my thing is this: if the founders get their founder coins in the beginning, right? So there's value there to the extent that those go up, and then you could kind of like, you get them at a certain value, and then you could cash them in later. But I do think, kind of to what Drew is sort of getting at, and what he's asking, but there really needs to be a way to incentivize the creators to want to participate. And I hear what you're saying, Yoni, which is, look, like, it's not that much extra effort, and if that's truly the case, to engage, and then it's like, hey, you've got a built-in system of people that are going to want to be involved, and just throw them a little bit of like some perks and things, then.
Well, I mean, and also there's a monetary kind of, I guess, motivation to participate, because by, signing in as the creator, I mean, you already get 10% of all the proceeds of all the coins, all the coins that are your coins that are being sold.
Yeah.
And you have the capacity to monetize it further if you actually use the system and engage people this way.
Yeah. No.
So if this thing is truly decentralized, I have two questions. One is, who's getting the other 90%? And then two is, it's hosted
the other
on
one
.com
effectively
domain name. Like, somebody's credit card is on the renewal of that.
Well,
like,
yeah. So, I mean, technically the owners are unknown. I mean, I know some people that know them, but effectively, sorry.
No, he just said.
No,
Okay.
I just said okay.
Oh, okay. So effectively, I mean, the general idea is that if it blows up, they will become more unknown. That's what I expect to happen, because effectively, they're just going to step away further, from it, and then there's going to be some developer group that's going to take over. I mean, in a way, it's kind of already happening. It's just, it's all been so fast. I mean, like, I don't even know when the public release was, maybe a month ago. Like, like with these things, it's so hard to keep up. Like, even if my full-time job was looking at crypto projects, I mean, I would be behind like all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts, the speed at which this market moves. It is the innovation, the experimentation. It's just crazy. Like, can you imagine being like a US government regulator, and you're like, okay, so let's sit down and have a meeting, and we're they're still trying to figure out like Bitcoin. It was like, somebody just explained Bitcoin in the most beautiful way. Or like, Bitcoin is a single cell amoeba. Like, couldn't be more simple. It's straightforward. Like, that's it. Single cell amoeba, right? It's like, they can't get their arms around that. And then you've got DeFi, then you've got Bitclout, then you've got, it's like, good luck. I can't, I would love to be a fly on the wall with a bunch of these people like, okay, so, what are we going to do about this? And it's like, what is this? Like, where do we start? What's square one, right?
Well, and I think the other thing too is not just the speed of how quickly these projects, but how quickly real money starts flowing into the projects, right? Because all of a sudden it's like some shit that you just kind of heard of a week ago. All of a sudden they're like, yo, there was $800,000 of sales of, well, like these, okay, what about Y.AT, right? The Y.AT emoji domains, which
that's straight Ponzi scheme, straight Ponzi scheme.
But from what I've seen, though, there's activity there, right? Where they're talking like $30,000 paid for this.
Ask Bernie. Bernie had a lot of activity in his Ponzi scheme.
Bernie Madoff made off with the dough. But I guess so with that whole deal, I mean, those are just emoji domains as opposed to .ws. It's on .at. Is that kind of
So I mean, basically, I don't know. Maybe okay. Let me preface this. When I said it was a Ponzi scheme, that is my personal opinion. Okay. Secondly, I mean, from what I understand, literally what they're doing is selling third-level domain registrations that happen to be emojis. They do not resolve in browsers. You cannot take them and transfer them somewhere else. You can't, like, I don't even know, like, somebody sent me an invitation, and it was like, yo, finally got an invitation. I got 5 invites. Yo, you should sign up for this. And I was like, I'd sort of heard in a podcast somebody mention Y.AT, and I was like, oh yeah, whatever. So I got this invite, and I was like, oh cool, So I went in, signed up, and it's like, yeah, pick out your emoji, and it was like 3. You got to pick 3. There's like a bunch of categories, and you got to pick a random combination of 3 emojis. And I'm like, I don't understand what for what? Why am I?
I'm looking at the site right now, which is So I
was like, all right, I'm gonna just because this is my attitude. I'm trying to keep an open mind to all this stuff because look, I had a very I had a negative opinion about Bitclout, and now Yoni's like all about it. And I'm like, all right, I gotta go rethink this. So I'm trying to keep an open mind to all this stuff, right? So somebody sends me Y.AT, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna go check this thing out. It says, all right, pick 3 emojis. All right, I'm gonna go pick 3 emojis. So I said, I went with the rose for Rosner. I went with the boxing glove because I'm a fighter. And then I went with the rocket ship because, we're going to the moon.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, those are my 3 emojis. It's going to be rose, boxing glove, rocket ship. Boom, that's me. All right. Next step, pay $160. I was like, $160? For what am I paying $160? You're going to sell me 3 emojis that you didn't invent. I think it's a 3rd level domain name that is useless. I can't send an email. I can't put a website. I'm not even sure what I do with this thing. So I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. It's very possible, but I don't think so. And the problem is you go to Y.AT where this thing lives, and there's no information. It's like, so you just Google, like, what do you do with a WAYAT emoji thing? It's like, I don't know. And the next guy says, yeah, I don't know either, but everybody's into it. Buy more. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Like, peace out. I'm gonna go buy some .coms. You guys buy your 3rd level emoji domains. I'm good.
Well, is it 3rd level or 2nd level, right? I mean, I guess
3rd level.
No, 3rd level, yeah.
The Y is the 2nd level, right? The SLV
emoji shit is all the
yeah, it's .at. It's an Austrian country code domain name. The 2nd level is the Y. And the 3rd level is the random emojis.
Well, and it basically is saying like, okay, so you get your one of a kind username emoji domain, and then that's how people can connect with you, and it's how people can pay you because it's going to tie to some wallets and shit.
Yo, bro, I paid 80 G's for my username. Well, it's like it's not even like a cool thing. Okay, fine, you paid 80 grand to have like the coolest Twitter, handle. Like, okay, I got you. Like, you paid 80 grand to like buy, really dope Instagram handle. Like, okay, I feel you. Like, people use that socially. Like, yeah, hit me on Instagram. I'm at Instagram dope. Like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I get that. Like, you want to throw 80 grand at that? Okay.
Yats.
If you got it to burn, do you. But I don't even know what you do with this.
I think, yeah, man, I don't know. It's some new shit, man. Boomer. Okay, boomer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm looking at recently created Yats. You know what I'm saying? It's like the up.
I saw somebody paid 80 G's for one.
Is that true, though? People are really spending that kind of
I don't know.
And then, so the people getting paid the 80 G's are effectively the domain holder of Y.AT, right? Because that's the domain that this is all based off of. So whoever
I shouldn't have sold NFT.com. I should have just sold 3rd level domain names. I should have sold 3rd level domain names on NFT.com. I probably would have made $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in that choice too, man, because you know what I'm saying? Like,
says the guy who was like, sell.
Well, at the time we were all pretty excited. Now it's like, and then everything went even crazier. So, but that was a pretty dope sale. So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, it's all good. I don't.
So somebody just created beer mug ? Wine glass. Someone else created eye and then heart and then the what is that? What's the purple vegetable? It looks like what is that?
Called an eggplant.
Eggplant. Yeah, that's on some shit. So somebody added up an eggplant emoji, like, and it's
have at it.
These aren't even single emojis,
it. Make a salad. Go get some
sushi.
So
that's what it is, though. The folks, they registered Y.AT and then they created this platform to do emoji domains on this shit, right? That's basically
which, by the way, Y.AT is a great domain name. Single character, country code is Austria.
Yeah, a little hack. You can call it Y.AT. Get your Y.AT on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like online place to like buy cocaine or something.
Yeah. Get your Y.AT. All right. Well, this is some other shit. I'm curious to dig in a little bit more and understand this a little bit more. But
I can't figure it out. And then they got some score in there, so it's like, like a cool score, or I forget what they called it. And it was like, I don't know. My first one had like a cool score of like 72. And then I tried some other ones and it was like, no, that's not cool. That's like a 54. And it was like, and it was like, but the higher your score, the more it costs.
oh shit.
Man, it's a trip. It's like, whoa, you guys are really on some shit. And I just look, at the end of the day, I actually have crazy respect. It's like, wow, good on you that you threw up this thing and people are giving you money. Like,
yeah.
And there's no like terms of service. Like they don't have to, like.
No, they do. They have terms of service. They do have a terms of service here.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you? Yeah, like basically pay us the money. We guarantee you nothing.
Purchase a Y.AT license. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just getting a Y.AT license. I don't know what.
Yeah, yacht license.
From time to time, there's things called prism cases.
Not quite as cool as a yacht license, but
there's Y.AT rhythm scores. They're developed by Y.AT Labs. I mean, rhythm scores provided by Y.AT Labs, and the services is based on their proprietary scoring system. So you can get a rhythm score on your Y.AT. This is some crazy shit, dude. I feel like I'm literally I feel like I'm really high right now because it's like, you're gonna get a Y.AT prism case and try to resell that. You know what I'm saying? People are in. I want the highest Y.AT rhythm score. You know what I'm saying?
So Yoni, you always have good perspectives on this stuff. So, maybe we're missing the point here, but I got to bring it back. Like, why are people jumping through hoops, literally begging for an invite to go spend hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to buy a third level emoji license? They're not even saying you're buying a domain, like you can't even do anything with it, but you're getting a license to whatever the hell that is. Why are they doing that? And why isn't domain names, great, valuable domain names, getting the same degree of attention and interest from that part, that pool of investors or enthusiasts or whatever you want to call them?
I mean, I would say that there's just too much hype in all of these things to the point that it's actually hard. I mean, it's almost like the main skill right now is being able to decipher what has some real value offering.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say for me, I also don't really get it in terms of how it could be valuable for people to just spend all this cash on it.
Yeah.
Potentially, I mean, let's say maybe people just don't understand domains, and this is almost, a byproduct of that they're like, oh, this is a cool version of domains. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, let's say out of cryptocurrency, I'm mainly into Bitcoin because I'm into it from the perspective of the store of value. So the way I see it is that if there is, let's say, some sort of altcoin that becomes very big, all it really does is bring more attention to Bitcoin. So I think that this action is actually helpful because this will force people to think about domains and what other options they have. And, maybe, effectively have a contingency of people, a bunch of random people entering the domain market.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll dig that. I think, look, just for the purpose of, explaining to the audience, like, we're not hating. I think some of our is just, number one, needing to understand it a bit better, right? And if it is what it looks like, right, with these third level emoji domains, maybe tied to a wallet and some other type of thing, the ability on the founders, if you will, of the platform to be able to get people, that is the skill into itself, right? Nowadays, with so much noise and so many different options and places to go and spend money and invest in crypto and NFTs, like, to create a winning, successful platform is into itself a really, that's a success. So, I think it's, so that I think is, I mean, and emoji domains always seem to have sort of this cult following anyway. I mean, even in handshakes, emoji domains are kind of popping because people are super into them and just in the whole handshake space, which is its own other thing, which we don't even need to necessarily go into that too, but like because that's even, I mean, and that's the thing. There's like, being, and I'm with you. I think Bitcoin's kind of like the gold standard of crypto, right? but altcoins have had success, and depending on, you want to buy low, sell high. What about XRP? And recently, they had beef with the SEC. SEC came back, and it sounds like, they're going to get a favorable ruling. Do you think they get relisted at Coinbase? Like, what do you think? I mean, it's up to 300%.
I don't know. I personally, like, I would love to be an investor in Ripple Lab, like Ripple, the company. Like, I think that the sort of B2B, pipes, financial pipes business that they've got, money transmission, remittance, etc. I think that that's an incredible business, and they're going to make a lot of money. I do not understand why the XRP token has any value whatsoever. I just don't. I don't understand. It has an infinite supply. It's literally no different. It's like, I don't know. I guess the only reason to own it would just be like sort of blind speculation, because the principle of it is no different than, let's say, fiat currency. And pick a fiat, right? And it's like, it's centrally managed. The monetary policy is centrally managed. You have no say in it. You're subject, it's subject to change. And so I don't understand why anybody would invest into XRP as an investment vehicle. Like, yeah. I can understand, like, so the original pitch on XRP, from what I understood, was, and I did buy a bunch of XRP when it first came out, but I think, like, it was like, oh, okay, so basically, you're in Mexico. Basically, it was the same pitch as Bitcoin, except that, faster, right? And almost no fees. So it was like, all right, you're in Mexico City, and you got, somebody in Chicago is going to send you a remittance. You can literally, like, buy XRP token, send XRP token to Mexico instantaneously and for virtually nothing. And then that person can cash out of XRP token back into the fiat of their choice locally, right? And that's a use case. That's a super valid, probably multiple hundreds of billions of dollars a year business that they would be, trying to take a slice of. That's Western Union's business, right? The modern version of Western Union's business. Yep. But, like, that doesn't necessarily indicate why the value of the individual token should be assumed to appreciate over time. In fact, as they continue to release more and more tokens, the value should diminish, just like the US dollar's value diminishes when they release more and more dollars into the system. So I don't know. I don't.
But I think it's different, because there is also the action of price discovery here. I mean, like, in other words, it should diminish if the demand for it stays stable. But if there are more people finding out about it, just let's say people.
So you're relying on sort of the Ponzi effect, and I'm not calling it a Ponzi scheme,
yeah.
But you're relying on the Ponzi effect of, okay, there's going to be more people behind me that want to come into this thing.
Yeah.
But for what utility? Like, and when I say, like, there is a utility to using the token, but the moment you've done that transfer, there's no reason for either party to continue holding that token, right?
Yeah. But in a way, you kind of you almost cash in on the lack of supply in that moment when you need to send the money.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, look, it's the same way as many other commodities in a way. Why would you invest in steel or lumber? I mean, like effectively, you're trying to cash in on trends, and I think, like, something like, and again, this is investment advice, is personal opinion.
Those are very different things, by the way. So lumber, I would agree that, like, I'm gonna warehouse steel as an investment. There are times when that's a great idea because of supply chain constraints, and the price of steel will significantly increase. But, like, over a very long period of time, that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Trees, on the other hand, is different, because you cannot just incrementally, like, let's say that tomorrow the demand for lumber increases by 5x. Like, the ability to backfill that supply is a 20-year
Yes,
process.
it's a different dynamic from that perspective, because
Yeah.
in this situation with XRP, you're using it for a minuscule amount of time. Actually, sometimes you're using it for longer. It just depends on what specific payment mechanism you use. Like, I mean, I don't, I don't really know the details. It's kind of like complicated, but in general, I wouldn't, let's say, personally ever hold XRP for a long time. But it may make sense for day traders or short-term traders to buy it just for the sake of selling it. I mean, at that point, in a way, it doesn't really matter what you buy if there is a profit to be made afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and we've seen it go up 200-300% in the last week or two, based on some of the positive news coming off of the whole SEC situation. So, I think it's an interesting thing, and I've heard the same thing. I mean, about how it has the from a technology standpoint, kind of that Western Union capability, the new age Western Union. I think the unlimited supply creates interesting market dynamics if you're trying to actually invest in that coin and hold on to it long term and try to realize a profit that way over a long period of time. And yeah, so, well, interesting stuff. But with that, let's segue a little bit. Let's talk about a couple of domains, and then we'll probably close it up because we don't have a ton of time left. But we talked about 45.com recently, Drew, and I think it's probably worth, since we've got the floor here. It's a name that we're currently brokering, and I think that there were some questions, or people were asking questions about recent issue about it possibly being a stolen domain, and that issue has been cleared up with the lawyers and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to use this platform as an opportunity to put it out there in the world that 45.com is all good. It is a incredibly scarce, you talk about scarce digital assets and unique assets.
Did you ever own a 2number.com, Yoni?
I think so. I think we had a couple, but I don't really remember which ones.
Yeah.
But this was back in the day when.
Yeah. I mean,
but
I think that's like the one category I've never had my hands on. I've brokered a number of them. I brokered 50.com, 11.com. I think there's at least one more. I think there's two. Can't think of what they are. But 11.com is a great one. I sold 11.com on 11/11/11, which is
yeah. Singles Day.
It was Singles Day, exactly. Singles Day in China. But it was Singles Day in 2011, so it was really 11/11/11. We made that deal on that day. That was pretty cool.
For $11 million, 11 million.
Nah, it was a hair shy of $11 million, but it was a good sale. Actually, I think at the time it was a record-breaking sale, but today that would be,
yeah, not that, but still dope. And it's funny though, man, talking to you guys, and it's like owning one of 100 potential domains in a certain bucket, and Yoni's response is, I think so. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't remember a lot. I went through a bunch that were number ones, a bunch of 3-number, a bunch of 4 numbers back when they weren't worth much.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure there was like 1 or 2, but I don't remember the details.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. So anyway, yeah, but like I said, 45.com, it's an incredible domain, and it's all good, and it's good to go. So, that is going to be, that's going to.
Yeah, just to add some color. So, we had signed a brokerage agreement with the owner of 45.com. We started going out to market with it, and we had a few brokers and other Chinese investors that reached out saying, hey, be careful. Rumor is that this domain was stolen. And so, we reached out to the owner to get an explanation, and he referred us to his lawyer, David Weslow. And David was very gracious to, clarify what the situation was, and, that if so-and-so was our client, that yes, he in fact was the owner of the domain, and that the domain had been recovered and successfully reinstated to his client's GoDaddy account where it currently lives. So 45.com is legitimately for sale, and we are brokering it.
45.
So if you are interested in 45.com, this is a great market arbitrage opportunity, because there was a lot of haters in the market that may have depressed the value of the name, but this name is legit and it is for sale. So come knocking.
That's it. Bam. All right, cool. So about other names, some other stuff that Poker.net just sold, setting the record.net, $750,000. What do you guys think? I mean, it's
I mean,
you
good
think
price for that net.
you think?
Yeah, good price for .net for sure, for
Got
sure.
it. And then the other name, I just got a list of some stuff, and then I got France.com, the recent thing where the the government of France basically, which I think is an unfortunate result,
It's an extremely unfortunate outcome, and the what I hate about it is that the guy lost on like technicalities, basically, right? They basically said, basically like I don't remember what the detail was, but it was something like they couldn't get standing, or it was like the court didn't feel they had standing, to rule on it, and so it just automatically defaulted back to the French court decision.
Yeah. That's why it was. It's kind of like, it seems like a freak result, because everything about it doesn't really make sense. And as far as I can tell, effectively, somebody, the government of France, effectively managed to do an RDNA to this guy, and that's just going to be the result.
And they were successful. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is crazy. But yeah. Oh, and in the meantime, we were talking about conferences before, so I found this pic. Check it. This is from us in Vegas not too long ago. Which one? 8002. Is that the let me see, hold on, check it. Add image. I'm gonna throw it up as my can you all see that? What's up? Yeah. So what I might do, man, we're gonna maybe
I remember that night. I didn't have any. I literally I forgot my wallet, and so I forgot my wallet, and so we all paid to get got a table to get into the club, and I didn't have my wallet. It was in Vegas. It was at
in Hakkasan. Okay.
No, wait, was it Hakkasan? Yeah, I think it was Hakkasan.
Yeah, I don't.
Or I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was gonna say we went.
I think it was Hakkasan.
I think we ate at Hakkasan beforehand with Amar and Yoni's brother, and then we ended up rolling over to somewhere else in the MGM. Though it was over by, was it in the MGM?
I just remember that I didn't have any money. I literally forgot my wallet, but I had bought this gold coin, a 1 ounce gold coin, like earlier in the day, and from a friend. And so I'm like, oh my God, I forgot my wallet. And so I just paid with a gold coin. I way overpaid, but I was like, look, all I got is a gold coin. And I literally paid with a gold coin. And then I think Lau was like, yo, you're not paying with a gold coin. He was like, I'll take the gold coin and pay for you. So then Lau took the gold coin. And then later, I was super messed up, and I was like, oh man, I was like, that gold coin, it's like sentimental, man. I want it back. I was like, I'll pay you. And then it was like, it was like probably 3 a.m. I'm like negotiating with Lau to buy the coin back. I think it was like gold was like $1,000 an ounce, like even. And like by the end, I was like, I'll give you $3,000 for that coin. And Lau's like, no, I won't sell it to you.
I wonder if he still has it. Oh, that's some shit.
I actually probably would still pay $3,000 for that coin. It's sentimental. That was a fun night. It was a fun night.
It was. And with that,
good story.
With that, let's shut it down. So for the first episode of Down the Rabbit Hole with the squad, we appreciate you all. Yoni, thank you so much, man. Looking forward to a lot more.
Thanks for having me.
Drew, as usual, you know what it is. And to the audience, thank you all for tuning in. Feel free, comment, hit us up, let us know what you think. And we'll be back at it here shortly with the next episode of Down the Rabbit Hole here on Domain.
Yeah, give us some feedback. We want to know, what do you want to hear? What do you want to hear us talk about? What do you want to hear us, chime in on?
Yeah, because that's the beauty.
What did you like? What did you not like? Help us shape this show. We got we got a blank canvas here. So help us. Help give us some guidance.
Well, and that's the beauty of this show, right? It's that because we can go off on anything. If there's a particular topic you want us to dive in on, if there's a particular thing you want to talk about, if you want to clarify some shit, if the Bitclout folks want to get all up in the comments, be like, nah, here's why this works, or the Y.AT folks want to tell us why this is why their shit is the bomb. We'll even have you all.
Hey, you want to come on the show? We'll bring you on. You can explain your thing.
That's what I'm saying. We can get it in. And that's what's really great about this particular show and in a lot of the stuff we're doing. But, you know, like some of the stuff like Domain Sherpa Reviews follows a particular script. This does not. And, you know, so with that, you know, we've got a lot of opportunity to continue to just do what we do and have a lot of fun doing it. So again, like I said, I want to thank y'all for being here. And I want to thank you, the audience, for participating and paying attention and tuning in. And we'll see you next time here on Down the Rabbit Hole on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out.
It don't matter what you do.